We're in the era of handing your coding over to AI. But the AI itself often doesn't really know your codebase. When there are hundreds of files, it has to scan everything from scratch every single time. So LangChain shipped a tool for exactly that. A CLI that writes your code docs for you and updates them on its own when the code changes. It's called OpenWiki, but the reaction from developers was colder than you'd expect. What OpenWiki actually does, how it keeps the docs alive, and why developers ended up questioning this tool. Let's walk through it one piece at a time. First, what OpenWiki really is. In one line, it's a command line tool that writes your code-based docs for you. But it's not a wiki meant for humans to read. It's documentation built for coding agents to reference. It scans the whole repo to generate docs, then drops a note into the agent config file, telling the agent to check those docs first. The goal is simple, so the AI can grab the context it needs right away, without digging through the code from scratch every time. Let's nail down 3 terms. An agent config file, like agents.md or claude.md, is the note that tells the AI how to work with your repo. Doc drift is when the code has changed, but the docs stayed frozen in the past, so they no longer match. An auto PR is a pull request the tool opens on its own, packaging up changes with no human hand involved. So, how does it actually work? The flow is 3 steps. First, you initialize it, and it analyzes the repo and creates a folder to hold the docs. At the same time, it slips a note into a config file like claude.md, telling the agent to check these docs first. And here's the core part. A GitHub action rescans the repo once a day and opens a pull request with doc updates that reflect what changed. All the human has to do is review that change and merge it. But the moment it went public, developers raised more questions than praise. The reactions fell into 4 buckets. First, the naming. A wiki feels like something humans write together, but the audience here is a bot. Second, it's overkill. It's a thin shell wrapped around a prompt, so why not just write one good prompt? Third, it's harder to maintain. Keeping auto-generated docs at high quality turns out to be a big job from people who've been there. Fourth, alternatives. Just wire a code search tool into the agent and let it ask directly instead. The real question this tool raised is how you make an AI understand a codebase. There are broadly 2 paths. One is the OpenWiki way, summarizing the code into natural language docs. Humans can read them, and they capture intent and background that isn't in the code. The downside, they drift when the code changes, and the summary can just be wrong. The other is the graph way, like Graphify. It parses the code directly and indexes functions and their call relationships into a graph. The code is the source of truth, so there's little to drift, and it runs locally, so your code never leaves. The catch, the why that isn't in the code, is hard to capture. So which one should you pick? The answer is different for every team. If you just need to see the code structure fast, a graph pulled straight from the code has nothing to drift. If your team needs to preserve the reasoning behind why it was built this way, you need docs. And the side spreading faster right now is the graph. Because asking a graph saves far more tokens than reading the whole codebase. But the 2 aren't replacements, they're closer to complements. And one thing is clear, docs or graph, a human has to review it at least once. Because an artifact nobody looks at just drifts out of sync again. That was today's DeepPulse. Even when a tool writes the docs for you, you decide what to trust and what to feed it.